Hello and welcome back to the ministry. And today we're doing another movie review. I wanted to let you guys know, if you have not been keeping up with the movie review Rhema words that I've been doing, I literally created a playlist. This set of videos, the last movies, and all of the film and television shows that the Lord has given me Rhema words for will be in the playlist called Rhema Reviews Movies and TV. So look up that playlist. As of the point in time I'm recording this, it's 59 videos. By the time I add this movie that I'm about to do and the last one, it should end up being 68, because I also have to add another TV show that I already did the review for as a full out word. So we're about to have some fun. And what movie are we doing today? It is, and I'm going to actually show you on my tablet. If I can do this without. Can I turn the camera around? Camera turn, camera turn. It looks like a stopwatch. I'm going to have to do it by actually turning the camera. So, look. You're doing the Italian job. So, this is what we're doing as a movie review. So, this is part Kingdom Marriage. This is part Taking It by Force. And I wrote this word a long time ago. I don't know where it is in my Tumblr, but I just know I wrote this thing a long time ago. And I remember when I wrote it, but I don't remember posting it on my Tumblr. So this comes from the perspective of walking through the process of taking it by force. I'm going to also highlight what happened between two of the main characters as they began to fall in love. So the movie opens up as we're seeing the beautiful vantage point and views of the south of France, I believe it is. And you have your main character who is working out the plans and processes strategically for this job. He's sitting and he's filing things up and getting everything, and he's working out the structures, and they have this beautiful intro of the cars, the actual architectural digitized 3D architectural drawings of how this job is planned out. So he's gotten it together, and then he goes and he meets the father of who he will soon become and find out is and will become his kingdom spouse. So, starting with the scripture, the scripture that says take it by force didn't mean much to me at one point in time. It reminded me of this movie, and I haven't seen it in a while. I was walking through New York today, and now I saw a Mini Coupe. Every time I see that car, it reminds me of this film, The Italian Job. Mark Wahlberg, Charlize Theron, Moses Def. Now, I saw the car and the Lord started to unravel something in the spirit for me. I'm going to share it with you. In it, Mark Wahlberg planned a heist, and what he did was like a Robin Hood character type movie, as Charlize Theron's father was involved with the heist. He helped him set it up. And he called it his last heist. This was going to be the last one that the father was going to do. He's like, I'm coming out. I'm going to do this with you this one last time. God knows your kingdom spouse. God is familiar with what your kingdom spouse's do dirt stuff was. He knew exactly what he was doing. Matter of factually, you know how they say that in Job, God allowed Job to go through? There are things that the Lord allowed your kingdom spouse to continue to do while he set up the last scenario that was going to lead him to you. Okay? So they get ready to go. And they find out that the people that were supposed, they call them the cleaners, were in place. They needed to take, and I'm going to tell you exactly how this was set up. It was a safe that needed to be moved from 3 floors up in a building that was going to have to be moved out, and it had gold bricks in it. Okay? Now, what Mark Wahlberg's friend, who was played by Mos Def, did is he knew explosives. The paint they used was explosive paint. So what they did is they got into the location for the heist, got up to the room. The people thought that they were there to paint, but what they were there to do was to paint the spots in the area directly underneath, and they needed this to be so specifically on point. When I tell you it needed to be on point, it needed to be absolutely on point. If this was a centimeter off, it was going to mess up because it had to drop 3 floors. So each one needed to blow, and for the safe to fall in the right ordinance to be picked up. Okay? So they were setting that up. Mark Wahlberg was talking to the father. Your husband's been talking to the father. He's been talking to the father, and he's been getting he's getting things straight and getting his life right. And he said, if I, like, this is, I'm going to do this one last thing with you too. This is going to be the one last thing with you too. And this is like the agreement him and the father had. Whatever it was he was doing, is that one last thing. I'm going to do this one last thing. And the Lord's like, I'm going to let you do this one last thing. But then you got to get your life right, okay? Now, he said, you got to be careful. He tells him, you have to be careful. Trust everyone, but do not trust the devil within. Pause. 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 Trust everyone, do not trust the devil within them. As we know as children of God, every individual is themselves individually, but the spirit that operates, we know people are filled with spirits and demonically possessed by tormenting spirits, legions of spirits, so on and so forth. Each of these individual spirits shall have a person act out in a very specific and direct way. Okay? It'll be specific, it'll be direct. You may not understand it, but it's their way. So, you end up having them go through and they get the gold. It works out perfectly. The bomb blows and it falls. It falls directly through the hole it was supposed to fall in. No guns were needed. Nothing was needed. He planned it out that way. There are things that your goddamn spouse does. He's like the Robin Hood character. He knows what he's doing. Whatever industry that he's in, he's strategic. He's got the schematics. He's got the plans. He knows what to do. And everything he does, he's got it planned out to the T. Might be kind of like even you. Like how you are when you plan things out. He's got it planned out to the T that he strategically knows how to execute every part of the plan. Every part of the plan. He's been positioned there. As Mark Wahlberg's character was, he wasn't a bad guy. They were stealing the stuff from bad people, but they were going to do good with it. Your goddamn spouse has been positioned in the industry, whatever industry that he's been positioned. Real estate, corporations, building up things, politics, Hollywood, wherever your husband is set up, whatever the industry God has set him in before you. A messenger goes before you, 727. I can't really remember what the address name is, but I know it's 727 in the Bible. He's been set forth to go before you. But he's been set forth to go before you, and he's like the Robin Hood character. He's the covert person that he's going in and has gone in and subsequently has been taking things away from the enemy subvertedly, covertly, and by the time they even figure out it's been taken, they don't know who did it. They don't know who did it. Everything works out to a T because he has to keep that air about him like he's on everybody's side. But God's got him positioned. Oh, he looked like he on everybody's side, but he working for God. This is the Father's business. So, and Lord's giving me that rhema part right in this moment. So they managed to get it. The people that were set forth underneath, they had some type of water floating device that had 2 tanks attached to it that they literally would use scuba and underwater moved the gold. Now, the guys that stole it, that they stole it from, they did come after them. Your enemy is gonna come after you. His enemy, whatever it was that he was involved in, came after him in relation to whatever some of the stuff they already done figured out that your goddamn spouse was involved in, and he was doing it for God, and they've been trying to set him up for a minute. So they've been on his tail. So but he's smart. He knows how to maneuver around, and they always end up getting caught up in their own traps. There was a scene, the scuba boat, the boat that the bad guys were on ended up jumping ship and missed, and it ended up in a crash. So the people that were coming after him in every scenario, they didn't even catch him. And meanwhile, him and Mos Def sitting up there, Mark Wahlberg and him high five him. It worked. Woo! It did happen. It worked out to the favor. So, they meet up with
what's his name? The French dude. What's his name? I can't think of it off the top of my head. Oh, it should be on here. Wait. Mm, it's not on there. But the French guy, they pretty much all their team meets up, and they are geeked about it. They're like, yes, we won. We got the money. Sometimes the Lord allows you to end up in a situation where you feel like I've won. God will get you, sometimes he'll get you in a scenario where you have a victory. God has allowed you to get a significant victory. You got something that the enemy did not want you to have. Money, home, car, this, whatever it was. And you kind of laxed in that moment. You're like, yes, bruh. You know how long we've been fighting for this? Ooh, this is good. Y'all done popped the bottle. You about ready to celebrate. It's on now, bruh. You about ready. It's all together. It's all working out. You got this. You got this. And y'all celebrating. You popping bottles. Y'all like, yes, we got this. Y'all sitting up there planning out what you gonna do now that you done got this. And you know what? Your enemy is sitting amongst you. Judas was sitting with y'all. Judas was sitting with Jesus and the rest of the disciples. Remember that. Judas was sitting there watching y'all. He giggling with y'all, laughing with y'all. You know, y'all got this. And the Judas turns around and has the cleaners in which he hired assist him when they getting in the car. He shoots the father, which is a great juxtaposition to what the man said in the very beginning of the film, that don't trust the devil within them. This man turns around and shoots the father figure, pinning them in the back of the car because he falls over on top of two of them, and then the ones in the front, they shoot at them, but I don't think they try to get out, but the door slams shut, and then the car is rolled backwards into a whole ice water ravine because they went up into the mountains to celebrate. So where they were, it was assumed that all of them had died, actually, because of the fact that the car rolled back. There's no way that car should have, any of them have lived. God loves you so much that some of y'all done lived through some situations. Some of the people that are your team, meaning the God of Daniel people that he's going to align you with to help you carry your burden, they done survived some situations. The devil thought, I know you should have died from that. There ain't no, I shot y'all. The car went backwards. It fell in the water. That was ice water. The hypothermia should have prevented y'all from being able to get out that car. Because that water was too cold. There ain't no way y'all should have got out that car. None. And the dead body of the father figure who was laid across them should have weighed them down enough with the car, with the water, with all of that. Ain't no way. They should have got out that car. But God but God. It's about a year, 2 years later. This is when we meet Charlize Theron's character. She actually works for the police bureau. She is a safecracker. She, on the other hand, much like her father, who used the same skill to break into and heist places, she uses it for the police to break safes to get whatever it is that the police need. So they call her in periodically. She has her own business and she goes back to the office after popping a safe for the FBI. So after getting that taken care of, she makes it back to the shop and she's thinking back. I'm going to pause here. This is a moment where I forgot to say that the father called. The father called her and he said, "I'm sending something for you." And she said, "Is it pretty?" And all this kind of stuff. It was a necklace. It was a diamond encrusted necklace. He had already spent the money that he wanted to buy this necklace from this heist because he knew that a heist was going to come. And when she got it, that was the last gift that he was allowed to give to her because he had passed on because he was the one that got shot. So she was very bitter towards this Mark Wahlberg's character because he was out there with the father and the father died. So when Mark Wahlberg shows up at her shop, she's like, "What the hell are you doing here?" He says, "I wanted to talk to you." She's like, "I don't want to talk to you about anything." Because she's angry. When she sees him, she sees her father dying. Some of you, your goddamn spouse, has done something that affected a relationship, destroyed a relationship that was very important to you. Maybe even God allowed them to do this. They had an attachment. Maybe you think that they had something to do. Some of y'all, the enemy's been playing with your heads, making you think that certain things happen that didn't happen in certain ways because you're not with them. You have an assumption, but just for the fact that you know certain elements, you're like, just because they did that, I'm angry at them. You know what I'm saying? So, when he shows up, she don't want to hear nothing about it. Now, with that being said, she owns the Mini Coupe. Perfect car. It fits directly in the parking space in front of her shop. So, for some of us, we've been praying to God for blessings. You had everything done. You started to see doors open. You got some moves taken care of. And suddenly, the enemy had the nerve to bring a distraction. Even tried to kill you and snatch your blessing. So we know he kills, we know he steals, kills, and destroys. And you're left stunned, trying to pick up the pieces. You're hurt bad in the midst of the warfare and things. You're just trying to figure things out. Salvage after the attack. You're left trying to lick your wounds and put things back together, figure it out what it is that will be your next move. So he, Mark Wahlberg character, after all this time, he gathers the group together. They know that the guy that was on their team had come back to the United States. He was living in a specific area and they needed to get the safe back. So they needed to take it back by force. They had to go get her because she was the only one that knew how to open that kind of safe. We the goddamn spouses, we got a lock open up that they need. They don't even got the key. We got the ability to open it. We the only one that can open it. They can't open it without us because we got the precision type of plan that we can get in that thing if necessary. And we can get it out in a way that they wouldn't have never thought. Okay? So they need us. In order for them to, the whole point of the entire heist to take it back, they can't even do it without you. There's something that your goddamn spouse has or has need of. He ain't even going to be able to achieve getting it in order or taking it back without you. Because you're the thing that's going to unlock it. He don't got the key. He can't make the key. He can't arrange the key. The key, And it's so funny. This is right on time because my dad, no pun intended, they were doing something with his keys in relation to his keys right now. The keys and the locks to the door. The type of combination and the locking system. So, yeah. The key is her. She is hurt by the entire situation and she don't want to have anything to do with it. But when Mark Wahlberg's character lets her know, we done located the guy, the one that did it, we just got to get in there. And she's like, for my father's honor, I'll help y'all. That's the only reason. Some of y'all, wives, soon to be wives, y'all been bitter at your goddamn spouse ever since something that they did. It was a major thing that they did. And the only reason that you willing to even give them half a chance is because the Lord is pushing you. And it's going to give honor to God in this situation. So that's the only reason that you're going to help your goddamn spouse. I'm talking to y'all that has some prodigal issues. Okay? Okay? Alright. So, the person that stole the safe in the first place, he knows everybody on Mark Wahlberg's team because he was in their team. But the thing he does not know is what the father's daughter looked like. Charlize Theron's daughter looked like. He didn't know what she looked like. He hadn't seen her in years. So in getting her, they wanted her to go in and have dinner while they went and snatched the stuff. Once they got it, they were going to have her crack it, but they needed to have her do a setup. So with that, so they have to set up to make sure that you can get in. They got to do the work. You're just the decoy. God's going to send you in to be the decoy. A lot of y'all, you've heard the saying that be wise as a serpent, gentle as a dove. God's sending you in to the industry your God ordained spouse is in to be the decoy. You're the Trojan horse. Ain't nobody looking for you. Ain't nobody gonna be. Some of y'all are so unassuming because the industry they're in, if you walked in there the way you look, they'd be like, what are you doing here? Did you come to the wrong place? What are you doing? That's why. Ain't nobody gonna know you. Ain't nobody gonna think it's you. You're going to literally covertly come in as the Trojan horse in this situation, okay? So you're coming in as they're setting up the other pieces. They gotta get everything in place for you, but you're the only one that just gets to come in and be the decoy. They gotta go get the uniform for you. They gotta go make the copy of the key for you. They gotta go do all of this so that you can get in to the house after and do the first initial connection with the Judas. Some of y'all, your God ordained spouse may use you in such a way to set up somebody that he knows is doing wrong by him, and he want to test it, and he's testing you and he's testing them at the same time. So it may be a scenario where you very well might be placed before somebody that you wouldn't ever want to be in the same space with, because you got the cognition that yeah, I don't want to be around this person. I don't like this person. They make my blood boil. And you know, there are certain people the Lord has even put you around that makes your blood boil. You may not know that the reason that you're being put in that situation is because your God ordained spouse is trying to check them. But he got to catch them before he can check them. But he knows you are not going to do him wrong. So the test is for you to make sure that you straight, and the test is for them to make sure that they do what they did before, which is screw themselves over and blow the situation so that he knows he can't trust them no more.